In June, the temperatures are starting to creep up and thoughts turn to summer. And these days, things can get extreme. You might remember that record-breaking 40 degrees last year. Well, a new report has been released saying the UK is simply not ready for more heat like that. These are some of the findings. Fire and ambulance services say their resources were stretched to their limits and that any heat waves, if they'd gone on any longer, they would have really struggled. We spoke to one of the researchers earlier today.
We can expect to see more of these events happening going forward. What happened last year was that we did experience these 5 heatwave period, and a lot of resources were felt to be at a breaking point. So the issue is if the heat is longer in duration, if it's higher in temperature, and if they're more frequent, then the UK isn't prepared. So we do need to be thinking more urgently about how the UK is going to prepare to these types of events if we're not going to be meeting our goals.
Some of the main issues the report looked at was understaffing and a lack of training at local and national authorities. It also points out that we don't have a national strategy for managing things like how heat waves affect homes and workplaces. Another problem identified is a lack of public awareness about safety during heat waves. That's things like the risk of barbecues or campfires starting wildfires. And that actually feels like a timely reminder because officials in the Scottish Highlands think that's exactly what was behind a wildfire there this week. Alan Jenkins sent us this update near the scene of that fire in Cannich.
This incredibly charred moorland is as close as we can get to what is a major incident here in the Scottish Highlands. Wildfires have been burning here for the last few days, and I have to say the smell of smoke is very thick in the air. It's incredibly intense. The area affected right now is just over the hills here. There is some smoke in the distance. Firefighters from across the Highlands have been trying to put these fires out, but the issue has been, even though it looked like it was contained yesterday, wildfires continue because hotspots keep on burning, and they're doing everything they can to keep this under control. At one point, the area affected was so visible from space, you could see the smoke on satellite images. Even as we stand here right now, there are small pockets of smoke emerging just in the distance there. And of course, the impact on wildlife has been devastating. You only have to look at this very small patch of land to see the damage that has been done. In terms of what's caused this, an investigation will now be taking place, but it is thought that it was to do with wild camping, potentially naked flame from a stove or a cooker causing this kind of damage. And so the advice is, if you are enjoying nice dry weather over the next few weeks, be incredibly careful with what you're doing and what you're cooking with in these areas, because you could end up with an awful situation like this.